up, guys? Welcome to this latest episode of the Mufasa Sports Club. Thank you once again for your support. Let's continue to build this channel. I'm truly grateful for the support, and let's continue to build this community. Let's continue to develop. I was absent these past couple of days, been dealing with some stuff, but we're gonna get back to business. Just gotta keep on going. So thanks again for your patience and support. NBA standings, we just gonna be going through the standings of the league and what's been happening lately with the NBA, and we're gonna start with the Eastern Conference, where the Detroit Pistons are currently the number 1 seed with a 15-2 record. Great start for the Pistons. Not surprised at all. I was expecting them to be in contention this year, with them being in that top tier team in the East, possibly getting to the conference finals, and why not the NBA finals. They've been led by an incredible Cade Cunningham once again, playing out of his mind. Very good team, and I'm really excited to see how far this team can go. I think they still need to maybe add a shooter by the trade deadline to really bolster this roster again. I'm really excited about the return of Jaden Ivey as well. So kudos to JB Baker's staff and his staff over there, no pun intended. Great job by them, and let's see how far this team can go. One of the surprises, the Toronto Raptors, 13-5, led by Brandon Ingram out there playing great basketball right now. I'm loving what this Raptors team is doing. They're playing a very complementary style of basketball, sharing the ball, led by their stars, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. Really loving what they doing out there. They definitely one of the surprises. I was not expecting the Raptors to even be in the playoffs, to be honest with you. I was giving them a playing spot at the very most, but let's see how far they can go and how this can continue. Hopefully they can stay healthy. I think that's the most important thing in the league right now, keeping players healthy. So let's see what the Raptors can do. I'm not sure if I mentioned the return of Jaden Ivey also for the Pistons from injury. I think that's gonna be very good for them. The third seed in the East right now is the Miami Heat with a 12-6 record. A little bit surprised, but again, Heat culture, Eric Spoelstra, not too surprised. The Heat are always going to be a tough out, and regardless of who is in the lineup, they will give maximum effort, and that's just what they're displaying and winning scrappy games and getting those wins and stacking them up. So great addition with Norman Powell as well, and I just want to see how far this Heat team can go. I don't have high hopes for them at all, but we'll see. Especially in the wide open Eastern Conference, like I've been mentioning, anything can happen. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 4th seed in the East, is a little disappointment, especially after the amazing season they had last year. But Donovan Mitchell has been trying his best to keep this team afloat, especially with Darius Garland going in and out of the lineup with injuries. He was out to begin the season and unfortunately came back and then went back down again. Evan Mobley is one of the early disappointments, in my opinion, on that team. I think he's settling for too many threes and needs to go back to be that traditional big who is always looming around the post and the basket and getting mismatches and just getting easy baskets. I think he's settling for too many threes. I was happy for him to add that 3-ball to his arsenal last year, but I think he's settling for too many threes, and that's not good for the Cavs. So that double big lineup needs to be exploited at its maximum, and hopefully they're also being pretty depleted in terms of injuries with Max Strus and Sam Merrill and all these guys. Hopefully they get them back, and I think the Cavs should still be in top contention in the East, like I had them in the beginning of the season in terms of first tier of the Eastern Conference. The New York Knicks, 5th in the East, 10-6 record. I think the Knicks unfortunately lost Jalen Brunson for a couple of games out there, but besides that, haven't really been a very dominant team, even with Jalen Brunson in the lineup. I think that's, this is probably one of the disappointments of the early season as well, because with the wide open Eastern Conference, you would expect the Knicks to be very dominant and be in contention. I still have them in contention, obviously in the East in that top tier, but they will need to pick up some additional wins and really separate themselves from the rest of the peloton out there if they really want to go for a deep run, because obviously, as you know, home court advantage is going to be very crucial. We still have a lot of basketball game to play, but it might be time for them to really start being more aggressive and try to stack up some wins out there. The Hawks 6 seed, also one of the sleepers that I had, unfortunately lost Trae Young, but still able to win some games. Jalen Johnson has been the leader of that team with the absence of Trae Young, so very good record, 11-7, better than what I was expecting for them after losing Trae Young, so that's really encouraging. I don't really have much expectations for them ever since Trae Young went down, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they do by the deadline also, especially because they haven't extended Trae yet, and we'll see. The Bulls 7th seed had a hot start and then kind of got back into their own habits and losing some games. They're 9-7. Josh Giddey has been playing very well. Kobe White is back. Let's see if he can also alleviate some of the workload that Giddey's been having, and if they can, try to make a run there. I wouldn't, honestly speaking, if I'm the Bulls. But with how bad the East is right now, with all these injuries from those teams, I can see why they might feel like there's room for them to be competitive, and why not get a playoff spot this season. The Philadelphia 76ers, also 9-7, started with a very good start also of the season, and unfortunately kind of started losing some games too. Obviously, we already know the issues with the Sixers. Joel Embiid in and out of the lineup. Paul George just came back and started his season, and it's been very promising. I think the Sixers can, obviously I'm a little biased, but can continue. I think that the roster is pretty good, pretty deep, especially in that Eastern Conference. Like I've been saying, Andre Drummond has been a very reliable backup big, putting crazy numbers in terms of rebounds and averaging, almost like a double-double. I think the right approach is what they're doing right now. We're not rushing Joel Embiid back. Let's try to see how Paul George can, help Tyrese Maxey, who's playing, I want to say, at an MVP level right now. If the team was, adding those wins, he would definitely be in that conversation. Definitely at an NBA level, all NBA level. So he just needs some additional help, whether it comes from Paul George or Jared McCain, who just came back, or the rookie VJ Edgecombe, who's also dealing with a calf injury, I believe, right now. It's really tough for those rookies to, adjust to the amount of games that the NBA requires as opposed to college. So I kind of understand that. They're going to have to rely on their depth. Unfortunately, Kelly Oubre, who's been playing very well before he went down too, is going to be out for some games. Adem Bona, who was supposed to be the backup center this season, also is out right now. So let's see if they can go through that trying time right now and get some wins, and maybe by getting some guys back, and hopefully at least Paul George staying healthy, and why not Embiid, who's questionable at least for next game already. He's practicing, so that's promising, and we'll see where the Sixers can go. The Orlando Magic, one of my disappointments for this season. I was expecting the Magic to be pretty dominant in this Eastern Conference, and they're sitting at the 9th seed with a 10-8 record, losing some inexplicable games, and not really dealing with a lot of injuries, and Paolo Banchero still leading that team. I think the Magic have a shot to be able to get into the playoffs, and why not have a deep run, but they would really need to be able to get it together very soon if they don't want those expectations to disappear. I think they need to play Tyus Jones a little more and help him settle in that offense also, and they should be fine with that. But it's going to be interesting to see how they go from here. The Boston Celtics, not much expectations from them this year. Just, like I've been saying, try to develop these young players that they have, whether it's Hugo Gonzalez, Peyton Pritchard, Neemias Queta, all these young guys out there, surrounded by, obviously Jaylen Brown and Derek White. So it's going to be interesting for the Celtics. I think they're doing fine for the expectations that I had for them this season. So again, I don't have them in a championship run at all, so I don't have much expectations for the Boston Celtics. The Milwaukee Bucks, 8-9. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was playing at an MVP level as well, unfortunately went down and has been missing a couple of games. Milwaukee is just not that good. Ryan Rollins has been a very exciting finding for them. I think they just need to build for the future and continue with, developing these young guys. Miles Turner has not been as dominant as they would expect him to be, especially with Giannis out, and just don't have much with Kuzma and Bobby Portis and all these guys out there. So I don't have expectations for the Bucks. Also, with Giannis, I might have them in the second round, but without him on a long stretch, it would really be tough for the Bucks. The Hornets, who I had as a little sleeper team, has been very bad, 4-13. Some frustrations from the LaMelo Ball on some reports. Brandon Miller just came back. I think Hornets, Charlotte just needs to continue developing these players. I'm not sure how long Melo is going to be dealing with this, but they have a young core that could, get better and be a real challenging team for the East in the next seasons. Ryan Cockburner has been pretty good. I think the rookie also that they got, Cunningham, has also been really good for them. He's up there in the Rookie of the Year conversations right now also. So I think you just need to continue to develop these young players out there and see what next season might also get you. Hopefully you get a high pick in the draft and just continue to develop. Brooklyn Nets, 3-14. Nothing surprising there either. I think we already knew they're gonna be one of the worst teams in the conference, so they're just gonna try to win as many games as they can. The Pacers, also not too surprising, 2-15 in the East. Pascal Siakam is in the dark chamber right now, trying his best, but just not enough. I was expecting them to be at least a little more competitive, but that's how you see how important the number one player is, and the absence of Tyrese Haliburton is definitely really killing that team in Indiana right now. The Wizards, 1-15, very well expected. Wizards are very bad. I just think they need to try to get some picks for, hopefully some of the veteran players, whether it's TJ McConnell or Chris Middleton out there. But I'm just not sure if anybody wants to take on those kind of salaries. So we'll see how it goes. The Western Conference now with the Oklahoma City Thunder being 17-1. Very impressive start once again for the Thunder without Jalen Williams, J-Dub. But this Thunder team is just so deep and so good that they find ways to win, and sometimes they win very big. I just love how this team is playing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander one more time in the MVP conversation, obviously, and it's just this team is there to stay, and they're gonna be dominant for a lot of years, especially with Sam Presti being at the helm out there. Kudos to the Thunder again, and Mark Daigneault to always finding ways to get guys involved, continue to get guys involved, and be that good. And I think this year they found another very good player with AJ Mitchell coming there to compensate also a little bit with the absence of Jalen Williams, like I've been saying. And they're doing all this without Nikola and Sorber that they got in the last draft that hopefully come back next season. OKC is just going to be very good for the next foreseeable future. The Denver Nuggets, also high expectation for them from the beginning of the season, and they're proving me right so far. 13-4. Nikola Jokic also playing at another MVP level. I think it's still going to be between him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander this year. Only difference is the Nuggets are very deep this year, and even with the absence of Christian Braun, Aaron Gordon, who's also dealing with injuries, but the Nuggets are so deep that they're still finding ways to win. Jamal Murray is playing at a very good level also, and the addition of Tim Hardaway Jr. and Bruce Brown coming back, Valanciunas also helping Jokic on those non-Jokic minutes. Young guys like Watson and Zeke Naji also giving them some good minutes off the bench. I'm really loving what the Nuggets are doing, and I definitely have them in the top tier in the West. I wouldn't be surprised by a Denver OKC conference finals in the West. I think these are the top two teams, with the Houston Rockets as a top 3 and tier 1 in the Western Conference. Los Angeles Lakers, with the return of LeBron James, is third in the West. Very good beginning for the Lakers. I don't have high hopes for them per se, but when you have Luka and LeBron on the roster, you can never dismiss them. So let's see. They don't have very much flexibility, so we'll see if they do anything during the deadline. But good start for the Lakers. Luka is also playing at a very high level, so kudos to the Lakers and JJ Redick for this start. The Houston Rockets, 4th seed, 10-4, also playing really good, but I think Kevin Durant would need to be more aggressive for this team to continue to develop and get better. I think they definitely found something with Reed Shepherd there in his second year. Amen Thompson is getting more comfortable at the point guard position. I think he would. I would need to see him more when he's picked up full court before I can make a final decision. I would still, if I was the front office, try to go get a point guard by the deadline just in case, as a safety net out there in Houston. San Antonio Spurs with a hard start, 5th in the league, 11-5. Victor Wembanyama went down and is out for a couple of games. They already lost the rookie Dylan Harper. There you go, Dylan Harper, who is also out. De'Aaron Fox has been trying to stay afloat. Love the quote that he had, where good teams do not just start losing too many games when the star players are out. I think he's absolutely right, and I'm loving that. It's a very good roster there that can make some noise in the West, especially if they get Wemby and Dylan Harper back. Kudos to the Spurs for that start. The Phoenix Suns, very, very, very interesting start. I'm loving what I'm seeing from them. 11-6. They're not even really playing command Malwatch right now, and they're finding ways to win. I didn't expect them to be a 6 seed with 11 wins and 6 losses so far. Kudos to the Suns, led by Devin Booker, obviously, and they're doing all this without Jalen Green, who is also dealing with injuries with his hamstring, I believe. So very happy for the Suns and excited to see how far they can go. The Timberwolves, I had them in a tier 2 in the West, and that's just the way they're playing. Also, Anthony Edwards hasn't really taken that leap yet. I know he's been also dealing with a little bit of injuries, but if they want to have some high expectations of playoffs, they'll have to get it together very soon. Also, the Golden State Warriors, who started pretty well, also find themselves 9-9, just at 500 right now. Steph Curry is playing at a very high level. Jimmy Butler will have to probably raise his level of play in the regular season if they want to be able to have a deep run. Jonathan Kuminga, unfortunately, is hurt right now. I think the Warriors' main issues, once again, is their size. They do play quit and post a little more now. Trace Jackson Davis got some minutes here and there, but I think they will need to go get a competent big by the deadline if they're really trying to get some stuff going on over there, unless they really lights out from the 3-point line, which unfortunately they're not. The Portland Trail Blazers, 8-10. Drew Holiday has been really good for that team, stabilizing them, leading that team. Shaedon Sharpe has also been really good. Jeremy Grant coming off the bench. They are a tough out. They'll give you maximum effort night in and night out. So a little surprised because I was expecting them to be at the bottom of the conference right now, but kudos to the Blazers. The Grizzlies, Ja Morant being hurt, talking again, having that little altercation with Klay Thompson. If you're not going to be on the court, I don't think you have any right to be talking trash to anybody. Grizzlies are 6-12, 10th in the West right now. I just don't have much expectations for them. I think I had them in the tier 2 or 3. I would probably, if they make it to the playoffs, honestly, it would be a win for the Grizzlies this season. Utah Jazz, 5-11, not really much expectations for them either. We'll see where they go. I think they will just think and try to get a very high pick this upcoming season. They just need to develop the young players. I think it might be time to just try to trade Lauri Markkanen and also get as many picks as possible, especially with Walker Kessler out for the rest of the season. Clippers, biggest disappointment so far. Kawhi Leonard is been hurt for a couple of weeks now. James Harden has been trying his best. Kudos to him. Dropped 55 points lately, but it's just not enough. Bradley Beal is out for the season, and they're just not getting much from their vets that I was expecting them to get. I really thought the roster was well put together, even though it was an old roster, but they're not getting much from these guys, and it's gonna be tough for the Clippers this season. One of my biggest disappointments, for sure, especially coached by Ty Lue out there. The Mavericks, 5-14. Definitely with the firing of Nico Harrison, I'm moving in a new direction out there. I think I wouldn't be surprised, like the rumors been saying, if they really try to move Anthony Davis and maybe Kyrie Irving at the end of the season. I was expecting them to be a little better than that, but Cooper Flag has been struggling a little bit, and the lack of point guard also, with that stupid experiment of having Cooper Flag at the point guard position, has been biting them, and I think it's going to be another rough season for the Mavs, at least until Kyrie Irving can come back, and maybe Anthony Davis if he doesn't get moved. But they're 5-14. The Kings are 4-13, bottom of the Western Conference. Just very bad team, very bad roster assemble out there. I think they just need to get rid of as many old dudes as they can and just embrace a full rebuild out there. Get rid of everybody from Sabonis to DeRozan and Levine, and I don't even know what they will do with Russell Westbrook right now because they only got him on one year deal. So I think it's going to be a very rough season for the Kings once again. The Pelicans last in the Western Conference with 3-15. Very bad also. Zion Williamson has been somewhat healthy, but it's not really bringing much. They're just losing and they're not good. I think, I love what I'm seeing from Derek Quinn and the mentorship of DeAndre Jordan out there with him. They're just going to be a bad team also, and hopefully I think they actually traded their pick this season in this next draft to get Derek Quinn. So if they don't have any pick, they'll need to make a trade to get involved in this draft. Joe Dumars will have to do that, and hopefully they can get a high pick and get better. But that's pretty much what I have for this episode, and I appreciate you guys again. Once again, subscribe, share the videos, like them, and I'll catch you guys at the next episode. Ciao.